Hello everybody, welcome back to Friday Sews. I'm Alison, this is Sew Like Dotty, and this is just my regular weekly catch up of what I've been up to in my sewing room. So I have been making a pattern which I've kind of teased about for a few weeks, which was launched yesterday by Sew Over at London, and that is their Xanthe skirt, which is this skirt just here, which is, it's a denim skirt but with a bit of a twist on the front pockets, and you'll see that on the line drawing, but you'll see that more when I share it with you. So as you can see, there are two versions. You can make it above the knee, and then there's this version here which is longer below the knee with the split at the front. As you know, if you follow me quite often, I like a longer length skirt, so I actually added 2 inches to the bottom of this. So it comes in sizes 6 to 30. I actually normally cut the dresses and things in a 16, but when I did my measurements, obviously it's more tighter fitting, I actually cut it in a 20, but did end up running it in to an 18 on the hips, and I'll tell you about the waist shortly. So it's an intermediate make. I've just done a fly zip, but I've got to say this fly zip was a little bit different. Obviously you've got a split there, you've got a lot of top stitching, and the pockets are a little bit different, so there are a few new skills to make, but I did it over sort of 2 afternoons, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. There are a few things that I would probably seek to maybe do differently next time, and I'll talk you through those. So I will drop some pictures and things in as we go through. And this is a denim that I had. It was a lightweight denim, and I dyed it a couple of years ago. When I did spread it out to cut it out, it is like the colour isn't as solid as I would like it to have been, and I think it's because I did 2 of the dyes with 3 meters of fabric, which on reflection was probably too big a piece of fabric with being a denim to do the dial on dye. Anyway, it looks fine, and I kind of don't mind it. It gives it a little bit of character. There's nothing massively drastic, no big lines or patches on it or anything. So first of all, it's a fly zip, and the last one I made, I've got to say, for me it just went in a little bit better. There will be a Stitch School vlog on this one. I'm not great at written instructions, as I've said many times before, so in the end I didn't want to kind of take it out and faff around anymore. I'm fine with it as it is. And part of the problem is that I only had either like very dark zips or this lighter pink zip, so it does sort of stand out, but I've used lighter pink on the top stitching and stuff, which isn't coming out as well on camera, but it is more when you can actually see it. So I mentioned the pockets. So normally with a jean you would have like that pocket that comes round here. So this is something you could hack easily into pairs of jeans and things, or trousers for a different style. So as you can see here, your pocket goes down like this. It's perfect for sort of a phone, or you know, just if you're posing with your hand in your pocket. I'm not a pocket fan, but I've got to say I really like these pockets. I just think they give it a different detail. I just popped a little cute AF label in there. Obviously it's the same at the other side. Now I got my new cover stitch machine, so I really wanted to play with it, and I did a bit of, well, I wouldn't say research, I did a bit of Googling of how to turn corners and things, and that's something I definitely need to get better at, but I have to say I'm fairly pleased with it as it stands. Some of you might be able to give me some tips on that. If you can, drop them in the comments, because I did leave it with 3 needles in, and you've got quite a lot of angles on the front. You've got kind of each pocket, you've got this angle here and then along, and I did read about kind of loosening the needle thread. I tried to leave the left needle in and turn that corner, and I don't think it's going to unravel. I don't think I've skipped any stitches, but I did put a little dot of fabric glue on the back of the thread just to try and make sure it was secure, and I just think I need to get better at that. I think that's just practice, and we were talking about this Lynn and I, when we were on our sewing retreat weekend, is that we do things when it's in a garment to do. So I probably won't need to use that technique until I next maybe do this skirt again, because I definitely would make it again. But what I really need to do is just get some scrap fabric, do a bit of Googling, do a bit of practice and get more confident at it. At the moment I'm doing quite a few buttonholes, quite a few zips, so I do feel like I'm getting more confident with that. But just those little techniques, and I think then when you come to do it, it's not a big like, you're not dreading it so much. Does that make sense? So rather than focus on like I must make garments, I want to focus on let's get better at some techniques and practicing things a little bit more. I think over and over and over you improve your skill at it and then you become more confident. I hope that sounds okay. If anybody else has done something similar, let me know. So I just popped a zip, a jeans button in there. It's got the normal top stitching on the fly. Now the hips fit really nice. I have made it like to be fairly snug on me because, as you know, I'm wanting to lose some more weight. I've been sort of a bit not really doing much about that for a little while, but I have kind of got myself into gear a little bit this week, so I don't want it to be massively loose on me. Now I think one of the challenges that I had, which isn't anything to do with the pattern, the back pockets are patch pockets, and I did some cover stitch, top stitching on those. Obviously I could have done a fancier pattern if I'd wanted to, but I'm pleased with how they've gone in. I'm pleased with the back seam, but I knew when I was looking at it that you can see here the yoke had stretched, and I could see that, and I could kick myself now for not having done. I don't think it needs a sway back adjustment on me. I think probably what I did was thought, oh, I could cut the yoke out of that bit of fabric, and I don't think I took, well, I know I didn't take notice of the grain line, so I think that's probably one of the problems. But I think when I make it again, I would just be mindful of that, because it just meant that putting the waistband on was a right debacle, I'll be honest. And I reached a point on Monday night where I thought, I just need to sort of step away from this, because I'll always wear it either with a blouse or a t-shirt or something tucked in or over it. I probably won't wear a belt with it because I have a whole metal allergy thing around belts that can just be a problem, and so I don't really have any. And I just thought, if I don't need to turn it into more of an issue than it is. It's very wearable. I have stitched in the ditch along there as far as I can, and top stitched it as far as I can, but you can't see because it matches in so well. But I just couldn't do that when it got to the back. It just was puckering up around here, and it all boils down to this bit. So, you know, I'm always honest on here. Is it wearable? Absolutely. Will anybody know? Only me, unless you bump into me and you kind of tell everybody, which I don't think you would do, would you? Would you go, is that garment that you made a mess of the waistband, Alison? So one of the changes that I did make is, for myself personally, I'm not a fan of a slit at the front. So on the pattern pieces, when you cut it out for the front piece, it has where it sort of, it sticks out for the fly and then goes in and then down and then comes in again for the slit. So all I did was I replicated the bottom part of that on the back centre seam to make the split at the back, and then obviously just sewed up the centre front. I'm really pleased with that. I didn't lower the split from where it was, I just added 2 inches all round to the bottom, and I did cover stitch the hem. I'll drop a picture in of that, so I'm really pleased with that. I got that done nice and even. I did the belt loops to finish it off. I mean, if I'm never going to wear a belt, I might not put these on the next one, but I'm happy. You know, I'm happy with them. As you can see, I stitched them. I was having like a good play with my machines. I've got to say, somebody messaged me, I can't remember your name, I do apologise, while I was in the middle of this process the other day, saying I've been thinking about getting a combination machine, the Gloria or the Ovation, and I think you sort of tempted me to get separates. After I had the combination machine, the Ovation, which is a brilliant machine, I am so glad when I was making this that I had the separate machines. So my sewing machine's here, my overlocker's here, and my cover stitches here, all set up with pink thread on, different colours, which was fine, and it meant that I could easily move from one to the other without kind of going, oh, I need to cover stitch that bit now, right, I'll just change it back over. Obviously this is completely doable without a cover stitch machine. You could just top stitch it, but obviously I'm wanting to play around with that, and I'm really pleased with the effect. So all of the seams are stitched down with the 3 layer. I don't know how well you can see it, see if you can see it there. So that's the centre back, centre front, and the side seams are all cover stitched down. And I'm just really pleased with that. I feel like that sort of top stitching effect where you do a couple of rows just gives it that elevation, doesn't it, I think, and it particularly makes it look more like that jeans type of denim skirt. So yeah, overall I've learnt a lot. I would 100% make it again. It won't be imminent sort of make this month, just because I may be going away early in May, and I just want to kind of do a few alterations on things that I might use for that. Not early in May, sorry, early in April. I am going away in May. So I've kind of I'm just sort of thinking I might be switching up my plans a little bit, but I definitely will be making one again. I've got some black cord in there that I was thinking about for next winter. So that is the Sew Over It Xanthe skirt, which comes in size 8 to 30 for UK sizing, and it's available now, so you can check that out. And there should be some pictures that have gone in as I've been talking to you. So what else am I on with? That did take up a lot of my sewing time this week, and I think I said to you I'm not going to kind of get myself in a position where I feel like I should be doing more, because I'm wanting to take my time with stuff. So you may remember this jacket. If I can find the original picture of the finished jacket, I'll drop it in. So I made this a couple of months ago in this wool fabric, and it is, the original pattern is the Fibre Mood Flavia, which is a cardigan. So you can do this in a woven fabric or in a knit fabric. So I did it in a woven fabric, but the sleeves were going to come out too tight on me. So in a moment, as you do, I decided to go for the Tilly and the Buttons Billy sleeves and put those in. So I'll drop the picture in. I'm sure I can find it. I'll try and drop it in, but I'm not reaching for it, and I think it's just because they were slightly drop shouldered, so I like the look of it here, but then I just felt like it was just too big on the sleeves. So I knew I had some fabric left, so I sat and unpicked it the other morning. In one of the training that I did for one of the roles that I've done in my career, one of the trainers talked to us about when's your golden hour, when's your opportune time. And quite often on my days off, Carl will leave the house at 7 and I'm awake, but I don't want to sew because my daughter might be asleep. So I can do little bits like cutting out, or in this case unpicking, in that little hour, have a coffee, just sit in the bedroom, the dog's still asleep downstairs. So that's what I did with this the other day. So first of all, I took the sleeves out of it, and then thought about what do I want to do. So I'm going to insert pictures, which was kind of, I kept laying it all out on the bed, how my brain works. Will this fit in? Won't this fit in? What will it do? So it's not that I don't like a drop shoulder, but I felt that it wasn't sitting where I wanted it to. I have made the Fibre Mood Vinny. I made that in the waterproof jacket, and I did like the way that that fit on the shoulders, and I knew that those sleeves fit me really nicely, so that's like a bomber type jacket. But I didn't want to totally remake this jacket into it because it's got these pleats at the waist. I think I did no, I don't think I did shorten it, and I really like how all of the like the bodice part works. It's just the sleeves that weren't working for me. So I went through various stages. I'll drop the pictures in, but in the end what I did was I laid the bodice piece of this one here. Let me see if I can find some line drawings to show you more clearly. So I put basically the front and the back pieces, laid them on top of this jacket, and then cut them out. So what it's done is, hopefully it'll work, it's lifted the shoulder seam up a little bit. Then at first, which sleeves did I cut out? I was going to amend the Flavia sleeves and make them wider, but then in the end when I looked at the fabric, I thought, why don't I just put in these sleeves? So that's what I've done. Not with this little thing on here, but that's what I've done. So they're not in yet. It's cut, they're cut, and they are ready. So today at lunchtime what I did was, I've also decided I'd like to have some inside pockets on it. I did think about outside pockets, but with having this detail on it, that would be tricky. So I've just opened up the side seams. I thought it's a great time to do it while the sleeves out. And what I'm going to do is, I've literally cut 2 pieces of fabric which are folded over, which are, I'll show you on the inside here, which I've worked out will literally slot into here and slot into here, and I'm going to fit them into the side seam. So I'm going to start on the outside and flip it over as if you were doing a pocket, and then sew the seams back up, and then they'll be quite open on the top. But all I'm going to do is chain stitch some little thread loops and put a little button on so that I can just put a button over it. And I know that there'll be an ideal size that I could just pop my phone into, that kind of thing, or my car keys into. Don't like a lot of stuff in pockets, but ideally my phone, so I don't have to take a bag. I don't mind having my keys in my hand. So that's definitely work in progress. I'll be on with that over the weekend and things. And I just thought I would share that with you. Because you know what it's like, you make things and sometimes you're just not reaching for them. And I only put one button on it. I might go back to the idea of put 3 or 4, and I might just leave it with one. I'm not sure. I never fasten jackets anyway. Does anybody fasten jackets? And then the other thing that I've been on with, which is like an alteration, I'm going to quickly grab it, is this dress here. So the top that I'm wearing today, you probably can't see so well, is the Friday Pattern Company Sagebrush top with the little ruffle across here. It's in this black. It's like a cheesecloth fabric, I would say. I've had it for a few years, the fabric, and it's got quite long sleeves. I've got it on with the because I'm going to take the pictures of the skirt and drop them in. You know how you do things in reverse. Now this is also a sagebrush top that you may remember if you've followed me for a while. I had this fabric from Rainbow Fabrics maybe 2 years ago, and I made it in a top, I made a skirt, and I made a pair of trousers, and the idea was to wear them together, which I never really did. It's navy and black I'm trying to keep away from. Navy's not really one of my colours, but I kind of do like it. So this one has got the skirt attached, so basically I turned it into a sagebrush dress. Now it all fits me and I really like it, but the sleeves are a little bit too short. So I was thinking about the Style Arc Judy dress that I made a couple of weeks ago. I shared it on the Sew and Retreat vlog if you want to check that out, and I love the length of those sleeves on me. So I want to do something with these. So I've actually taken off the cuffs that are already on. I'm quite happy to chop up the trousers and use them in a different way because I'm not wearing them anyway. I would have to wear them with a navy blouse or t-shirt, and I've only got one navy sagebrush top, and I just don't reach for it. It doesn't flatter me, the colour, at all. So my first step is to try to put on some deeper cuffs, but probably not do them as tight as, well, they weren't tight, but not as tight as these ones are. So cut them a little bit bigger than this and deeper than this, and I'll just do one and I'll tack it on and I'll see how that looks. If I'm still not happy with it, I could recut the sleeves, but they would have to have a seam down here, which I don't think it's a massive issue. If I do need to do that, that will be a quick alteration and we'll see how that looks. So I'm going to go one way or the other, and then I feel like I'm going to have something that I can reach for. It's more of a spring weight, I would say, fabric, although it's quite dark. I think with the brown it does just sort of lift it a bit and it looks quite nice. I'd definitely wear it for work, or I'd wear it if I was going out. So a couple of amendments and adjustments and alterations, and then a skirt that I've made this week. So I feel like I've had quite a busy week, and I feel like I've achieved quite a bit in sort of my sewing this week. I did have a bit of an issue with my Acclaim. When I first started playing with it last week, I just kept snapping needles all the time. And I knew I had time over the weekend to play with it a bit more, but I was a little bit worried because I was kind of down to the last 8 needles, and I used them in this and my Enlighten. And they are a particular type of needle, so I couldn't just fall into any sort of needle. Anyway, I rang Elizabeth at David Drummond's shop and asked for a bit of advice. And she said, check your threads. And I said to her, I'm sure the Quartz Moon threads. I generally have Quartz Moon overlocker, what do you call them, cones, or some pink ones which are in front of me, which are Gutamen. Anyway, she said, just check first of all your loop is not hitting your needles, which I had done and it wasn't. Check your needles are all the way in and the right way around, etc., which they were. And then she said, just go slowly and watch. I knew it was one of my needle threads because particularly it was the left needle that kept snapping, but the right one had as well. She said some of your thread is probably catching somewhere, so she said I've had this problem before. So she said the thread is maybe coming off too fast, or it's coming off fast and then it's dropping and catching underneath. So when I got home, they were actually the little cones that I had on there, which I've used on my enlightening, I use all the time. So I just actually took them off. I put the pink Gutermann ones on, and I've had no problem with it ever since. So it must have been something around that thread. So if I do use those again, I will need to watch out for that. But because I was getting a bit like, oh, I've just got it. What's wrong with it? But anyway, it's fine. Whew, thank goodness. So as always, let me know what you're making and what you're up to. Drop some info in the comments below. I'm not sure what I've got planned to make for next week. I know I've got sewing planned, but as I say, I'm just going through this. I might be adjusting them slightly phase, so you might need to just not bear with me. They're my plans at the end of the day, and I did say if I don't end up making everything in February that planned, that was fine, but I might have already kind of altered, big shock that I might have already altered what I'm going to make. So yeah, I don't know yet. So come back next week and we'll find out together. So as always, drop some comments in. Let me know what you're making. Let me know what you're up to. And if you haven't already, I'd love it if you could take a second to subscribe and just give me a little thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. So bye for now, everybody, and have a lovely sewing week.